What's up, everybody? You're rocking with the best thoughts of the week. Let's go, baby. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. What's going on, everybody? This is Thoughts of the Week podcast, and we're at episode 38. We're at episode 38. Yes, indeed, man. How's everybody been doing? How's things been going? By the time this broadcast airs, it will be, let me see, it will probably be, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be, let me check the calendars here, man. I want to say the 13th on Monday. By the time you hear this broadcast, yes, it'll be the 13th. May the 13th, 2019 is when you'll be hearing this broadcast, and we are on our self-defense Q&A series. And like I said, I was answering some questions. I recorded myself answering some questions regarding self-defense because the summer's coming up, and there's going to be people getting into fights. There's going to be people getting attacked. There's going to be some things in the self-defense field happening to people. Unfortunately, hopefully it doesn't at all. That would be great. But in the world that we live in, things do happen. And as I told you guys in the last podcast episode, is that one of the many hats, one of the many knowledge hats, things in my knowledge hat that I know about is personal protection, self-defense, personal security. And so I wanted to share some of that knowledge with you guys. And this is self-defense Q&A series number 2, episode 38. And the question that's you'll hear me answering in a few seconds or a few minutes or so is, does size matter in a self-defense, or does size matter in self-defense / street fight? All right, so size matter in self-defense or street fight. That's the question I'm answering on this episode. All right, and like I said, always I hope this brings you guys some value and some valuable information that you can use and apply in case you get into any situations regarding that. All right. And so before we get into the actual audio, you guys, if you want to learn anything about personal protection, you need to check out Survive and Protect. Go to www.bit.ly/survive and protect online. All right. For those who are checking out the show on social media, where you're able to see the video, you can see the web address coming across your screen periodically. But for those who are listening strictly on the podcast shows, that's www.bit.ly/, some people say, survive and protect. All right, those are all lowercase letters, by the way. All right, so it's case sensitive. So if you spell any of the words or the letters with capital letters, it won't take you to the site. All right, so be sure to spell it correctly in all lowercase letters. That is www.bit.ly/survive and protect online. Now you can get away with it when you go into your browser, of course, simply by skipping the W's and just put in bit.ly/survive and protect online. All right. And so there you have it. Again, the question that's going to be tackled in this episode is, does size matter in self-defense? Or you could say, does size matter in a street fight? All right. So with that being said, let's get to the question, man. All right. You're rocking with the best thoughts of the week. Let's get it. All right. So does size matter in self-defense and street fights? Well, my answer is this. To a degree, I'm not saying it's the end all be all to a street fight as far as size, because there are some pros and cons, I would guess, if you want to look at it in the sense of bigger people fighting smaller size people. All right. And to a degree, there is some benefits of being big and fighting, but that still wouldn't determine the outcome of a fight. So does size matter in self-defense slash street fights? No, it doesn't, but there are some advantages to that for some people. Of course, you have, with somebody bigger, they're going to probably hit a lot harder. They might be a lot stronger, but there are people who are small, or what you might look at it and look at them and thinking, because they're slim in size, or as far as they can be the same height, let's say 262 people, one's 300 pounds, only other one is maybe 180. But that 180 can be strong as well, to the point that anytime they strike the 300-pound dude, depending on the areas of the body they hit, they can do some damage and cause some pain. But that's not the only thing that matters in a fight. In a fight, you also got to have knowledge and skill. All right. And when I say that, they kind of mesh together, knowledge and skill. So you got to have knowledge of where to hit a person, knowledge of as far as having knowledge to know how to fight standing up. You got to have, with me, like I take me for instance, I like to learn how to fight in any position that I'm in, whether I'm standing up, whether we're clenched up together, where we, holding each other, grabbed up, clench in the clench position, whether we're on the ground, whether we're halfway, maybe we're on our knees and not all the way laid out across the ground. I want to be knowledgeable in any position I'm in, any distance from the person I'm in. That's my mindset. Um, Maybe you can adopt the same mindset. Maybe you don't want it, and that's cool. But with me personally, I like to be knowledgeable in how to fight in any position I'm in. Doesn't matter where I'm at. If a person ends up putting me in a certain hole, I want to have knowledge to know how to get out that hole. I want to know knowledge how to reverse it. If we're just standing up and striking, I want to have that striking knowledge. I want to know how to do things to gain entry, to get closer to a person, whether it's to distract them for a second, whether it's to use entry, what I use in quotes, finger quotes, techniques, because I'm not fond of using the word techniques, but just for the purposes of explanation, I want to be able to come up with techniques to be able to come in and grab a person if I have to, or just coming in to strike them. Again, like I said, I want to be knowledgeable in a more holistic way. Whatever, even sitting in a chair, I want to be able, if somebody were to tackle me and I'm sitting in a chair, I'll know how to fight in a chair. All right, doing certain things in a chair. Because you never know where you will be approached, or somebody will try to be aggressive to you. For an example that just popped in my head, sometimes you'll watch these sporting events like in the stadium, and there are fights in the seats, in the bleachers, or whatever you want to call them. And sometimes, you know how steep those seats are sitting, like if you're watching a baseball game or a football game in the stadium, you know how steep those things are, and there's not a lot of room for error, because you can just topple over one little way and you might roll over a whole bunch of seats all the way down to the bottom. So you got to learn how to fight in any position where you're at. If you're in a stadium, if you're in a restaurant, you're sitting in a chair, if someone grabs you from behind, whatever, somebody grabs you from the side, if someone stands up and you're sitting and they're just striking you, you got to know how to deal with all of that. So that's my mindset. All right. So not just it's to me, it's not just the size. Yeah, it's good if you want to lift weights and work out and get a little bit stronger. Don't necessarily have to be big. You can just lift weights to get strong, but naturally when you lift weights heavier to get strength, your body will grow anyway. So that's a benefit, and I'm gonna use that to my benefit. I'm gonna work out and get strong at the same time, but also I wanna combine that strength with my knowledge of how the body works, how a body responds if I strike them. For instance, if I break an arm, what is their response? How are they gonna respond to the arm? Most likely, a lot of times they're gonna try to favor that arm that just got broke, and they're not gonna focus on you anymore, which leaves certain other areas open for me to attack. So I want to have all that type of knowledge. Or if I don't break an arm, let's say I just strike a person and they respond in a certain way, I want to already know before I even strike them that, okay, if I do this, they're already going to respond like this, and I take advantage of that. So it's not just size in a street fight. It's size has a benefit, and just as important is your knowledge of fighting, your knowledge of a body, your knowledge of even knowing targets on the body, what to hit, what's gonna give you the which I won't say there's no better target better than the other. Targets are targets. You just got to know where they're at on the body. You got to know how to exploit them, how to manipulate body targets. You can do certain just little small little movements, but it to a person, and it really has a real big effect on them. You can just stretch your body in a certain way when a person grabs you, and you grabbing them back, and all you got to do is some leverage moves, which you don't have to use a lot of strength when you're using leverage. That's also what I mean by having knowledge of street fights. You got to know how to have knowledge of leverage. You can have a big 200-300 pound dude, and you're both grabbing each other in the clinch position, and you just knowing about leverage, you can actually lift the 300-pound dude up with no ease. And you would think, and people would look like, man, how's he doing that, or how's she doing that? Because you're using more leverage and you're not using strength. So leverage has some factors in a street fight too, but that's all part of knowledge. All right, so that's my answer to does size matter in self-defense slash street fight. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, this was a short episode, but I hope it's been valuable to you as far as the answer to the question. Let me turn this down a little bit. I hope you guys gained some value from that recorded audio to the question, does size matter in a self-defense or street fight? All right, yeah, this is a short segment, this particular episode, but that's how we do in Thoughts of the Week, man. Sometimes we get hour long, hour and a half long, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. This is just how we do it, man. We just do it the way we do it. All right. What's important is you guys are enjoying the show and you're getting some information from time to time as well. All right. So you guys let me know what you think. For those who are checking out the video episode, leave a comment below and tell me what you think about the response to the question. And for those of you guys who are listening on the podcast, just send the email in. Let us know what you think. Thoughts of the Week podcast at gmail.com. Thoughts of the Week podcast at gmail.com. Y'all send in a response, man. It doesn't matter to any of the episodes that you listen to on the podcast platforms. Just leave send us an email, man. Let us know what you think. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna get on out of here. Until the next time, next episode in this self-defense Q&A series. All right. You're rocking with the best thoughts of the week. Peace.